everyone, it's Mike with Jealous Lawn Care here, helping you to make your neighbors a little bit more jealous of your lawn. And today is a beautiful day. It's middle of September here in Chicago, and what we're going to do, we got a big weekend. As you can tell, I just did my blacktop, just reseal coated it, patched up some stuff, and that's looking nice. And now for the lawn. So I have my aeration scheduled sometime later on today. I'm waiting for them to come right now. I got some local guys coming for roughly around 50 bucks, so pretty good deal. I'm also going to be doing a lot of things today. So we're going to be using some Milorganite, of course, because now that we got the ground open up, we want to get as much down in or under the ground as possible. So we're definitely going to be putting some Milorganite down, and I'm going to mix in. I'm going to do a little bit of Milorganite and a little bit of Ringer Lawn Restore at the same times. I usually don't mix two different fertilizers or whatever I'm doing. I don't mix two of anything in one hopper. You know, I'll do two different passes. So I'm just going to do a little mix just to get different nutrients in the lawn, you know, different phosphorus and potassium. So just want to mix up the lawn a little bit. And next year I'll be doing a soil sample kit, so you'll see a video on that, on how to do that, what it's all about, and how my lawn's shaping up right now. So every couple of years it's good because, you know, things change throughout the years, you know, whether it be weather or, you know, pine needles. I mean, you know, trees, leaves, mulch. There's lots of different things that can change your acidity levels and pH levels. All right. And another thing I've been putting down is a Scott's Turf Builder. So this is kind of like your starter fertilizer. All right, I'm going to put that in, even though I don't really need it, but I want my lawn to get even more thick, so I'll usually do this once a year, and fall is a great time to do that because I'll be putting down, you know it, grass seed, and I like to use all Kentucky Bluegrass. That's what I like to use, just to keep it all uniform all the way around, because that's what I have. You know, I don't want, you know, to introduce too many other types of grass in mine. I just like that uniform look, and you can tell that I have a little bit of a browning going on here behind me. You guys are on YouTube. You guys are so quick and with it. So I figured I might as well point it out before someone else points it out in the comments below. So yeah, you could tell on the side of the blacktop. So my blacktop, like I said, is all new. You know, all new coating over it. And this is definitely one of my problem areas. This was a big area that patch didn't go too well on that. I had a really sunken deep area. Anyways, we're not going to get into that. That's a separate video on that. I've got some browning here, and I noticed that, you know, a couple days ago, but I've been working on the blacktop. So one thing about blacktop sealer and also the patch stuff that I was using is that you can't get it wet within like 7 days or something like that. So, you know, I've noticed that and caught it early enough, but the problem is I can't really water it because I'm afraid of the splashing onto the blacktop. So unfortunately, you know, it's a little bit brown, but, you know, it's not too bad. So I won't have to do anything like resodding or anything like that. You know, once I get my aeration, which is coming on later today, I'm waiting for that. Just got all my stuff ready, waiting for him. So as soon as he pulls up, he's going to aerate, do nice double passes for me, and then I'll be watering heavily anyways for a good 2, maybe 3 weeks. All right, and then this will all come back, no problem, because this is just minor browning due to, you know, too much heat, and we haven't had rain here in Chicago in, shoot, it's probably been a week and a half at least. So as you've seen in some of my other videos, I don't really water too much. I only water spot as needed. You know, I'll water once in a while if we don't get, you know, if we're in like a drought season, but, you know, our bills here are just crazy. So one of the reasons I like to aerate in the fall versus the spring, I mean, they both have benefits, pros and cons. So in the spring, it's nice because you get that free watering. You know, you're guaranteed to be getting free watering because it rains all the time in the spring, so you get free water on that side. But on the bad side, there are some really hot springs. You might have some, you know, a week where it's just really, really hot, and then you really, really need to be watering constantly and constantly to keep that seed dry. You know, because usually when you aerate, you do seed, overseeding. Just, you know, it's two great things at once. So, and one of the reasons I like to do it in the fall is it's cooler weather. You know, you're guaranteed that it's not going to get too hot. You're not going to get any 90-degree days, you know, in the next little bit. So no issues about that. And also one of the reasons I like it is because it gives the lawn a long time to settle down, you know, get solid, deep root system going. Because without that, you know, your grass is going to continually need watering. If it's only got that shallow root system, you know, I don't care if you're putting down sod, you're putting down seed, whatever you're doing, it needs time to develop and grow deep into those roots before, you know, it can stand on its own without watering, or, you know, under normal watering circumstances, I should say. So that's really why I prefer aeration in the fall. You know, it's just, to me, the benefits, you know, is just so great in comparison to the cons. This is the earliest this company's even doing it, so I know I'm first one in the door. And even though they're not here yet, they're slacking. It's already around lunchtime today. I would have expected them earlier, but they couldn't give me a window, but they better be here today. And the only con I can think of about why people have problems when they aerate in the fall is because they wait too long. You know, middle of September is a great time to do it right now. You know, you still have all of October, all of the end of September. So if you aerate too late and you do the overseeding, you know, aeration not a problem, but the overseeding, when you're doing the overseeding, you know, the grass needs time to grow. If once frost hits that layer and it's below, or you're below 40 degrees, you know, the seed doesn't want to germinate, so you won't get that root growth. You won't get, you know, it'll just basically halt it in its place. So you don't want to make sure that there's not going to be any chance of snow or frost into the ground. All right. So I will give you a quick update once I do my next steps. So one quick thing I do want to mention, if you haven't done it already, you know, this is around that time, like around first week of September, that I usually not take one notch lower on my cutting blade. So I'm cutting, you know, I'm usually cutting it around like 3 inches or so. Now I'll take it down to about 2.75. You know, by the end of the year, I'll be down to 2.5. You want to gradually bring it down, otherwise you'll get a lot of browning. You know, because, you know, grass gets used to being cut at the same level. You don't want to go way too low and then scalp it, so you'll see all brown, and, you know, that opens it up for disease and other problems, insects. You know, you don't want to do that. Just take slow notches at a time, you know. Just kind of like weaning, when you wean stuff, you know, you wean pets off of food, same type of thing. You don't want to do it all at once. So today is Monday. Saturday night was the last time I did my mowing, and like I said, I notched it down one layer lower. You know, you don't have to just for aeration, but this is the time of the year where, hey, I'm doing it anyway, so I might as well take it a little step lower. And what I'd like to do is I like to keep the grass nice and low. And when I say low, I don't mean cutting it lower than normal. I just mean to keep everything nice and tidy. So now when the aeration comes, you know, it's easier to, we'll say, get down in there for those knives or blades, or whatever you want to call them, that take the cores out. And when you're choosing your aeration, you want to make sure that you choose someone that takes at least, I would say, at least the size of your thumb. So, you know, at least 2 or 3 inches for sure. You know, the longer the better for those cores. And that's really what you want for that core aeration. All right, so stay tuned for the next steps. Okay, everybody, I finally got my lawn aerated. They finally stopped by, and now I'm going to start with my first step, which is going to be my Ringer Lawn Fertilizer. This will do 5,000 square feet, so I'm going to use this on my front and my back. I'm actually not going to use the Milorganite this time. Like I said, I like to alternate. Sometimes I do the Ringer, sometimes I use the Milorganite. It just depends on, you know, how I want it to be. I'm going to fill up about half the bag because my front yard, again, is roughly 2,500 square feet. And this way I'll know that I still got another 2,500 for the backyard. So my lawn is nice and even like that. So put about half down. And this time I'm using the Ringer fertilizer. Sometimes I use the Milorganite. I like to switch it off. So this way you get the best of both worlds. And I'm going to start with my trim pass. all you're gonna have to do. So now that I got my first step done, which is the Ringer fertilizer, which I used, now we're gonna put down the Scott's Turf Builder, which is your starter fertilizer. And this is good for 5,000 square feet. So again, I'm gonna put in half the bag now, half the bag later. Seems like about half now. And double check your spreader settings, because all bags and all brands and all product is not all created equal. So for the fertilizer I just used, it was recommending a 7.5 on my Scott spreader setting. This time it's recommending a 3 1/4. All right. Okay, so I'm set at 3 1/4, and once again, I'm going to start my trim pass. And everybody can pretend that they don't see this little bit of fertilizer I left on the driveway. That'll be blown after I'm done with all my passes. And there we are. Next step is going to be our seeding. And by the signs of my driveway getting dirtier with fertilizer and stuff, you can tell this is the last step. Alright, so now we're going to put down some grass seed. And each one of these bags I'm using, this is Kentucky Bluegrass Scott seed. Each one of these is 2,000 square feet for reseeding purposes. And that's what I'm doing, just reseeding, overseeding. So I can just dump this whole thing in. And a little of the next one, and that'll cover the whole front. Now there's not really any harm in putting down too much grass seed. It's not really gonna hurt it like it would if you're using like a regular lawn fertilizer. When I say fertilizer, I'm not talking about Milorganite, that's a non-burning, but if you put down too much of different types of fertilizer, like regular fertilizer, that will burn the grass. Put that down too heavy-handed. That's one of the reasons I like Milorganite. It's pretty much dummy-proof. All right, so let's say that's about another 500 square feet or so. All right. Actually, what the heck? I'll put in a little more. Okay, so can't hurt, right? So the goal here is, now that my aeration is done, I'm trying to get this seed. Obviously, the goal is to get this seed to go into those holes. And once you water after this, that's the most important step, is the watering afterwards. You're going to have to water religiously for, I would say, a good 3 weeks. Again, I'm using Kentucky Bluegrass, which has a longer germination time than maybe like a fescue grass or other types of grasses. So make sure that you continually water, otherwise you're pretty much wasting your time with the seed. Seed that's not, getting down, into the soil, doesn't have that soil-to-soil contact, is not going to germinate. So it's just going to be pretty much wasted. One thing I wanted to mention about starter fertilizer. So don't be ashamed of using starter fertilizer, even though you're not just starting out. Everybody uses it. I'm using it. A lot of the top lawn care people use it also. So there's nothing wrong with using starter fertilizer. It just has a bad name, starter fertilizer. Oh, I'm not starter. I'm not a beginner. But hey, it doesn't hurt, because that's what it's for. It's for building up your lawn. That's why this bag, I don't even think it really says this. Turf Builder, it says Turf Builder. You want to build your turf up more. You want to be thicker and deeper. You want thicker and deeper root systems. That's essentially what we want. We all want that. So there's no shame in the game in using starter fertilizer. We all use it. All right, that's one of the benefits. Mixing in Milorganite fertilizer, Ringer fertilizer, starter fertilizer. Mixing in all these, gets great nutrients in the system of the lawn. And coming in next year, then I'll be doing another soil sample test kit that I'll be showing you guys a video on how to interpret it. But you don't want to do that in your beginning stages, because your lawn is already probably going to be in bad condition. So first steps is to get your lawn in a good condition, get on a good regiment, good program, which I'll be showing you guys, different levels of the program that I use since I've been here, and then each year I've been stepping it up and up to my current program. So definitely check that out. You'll see that probably in the winter time when I can't do any other lawn videos. All right, so stay tuned for more.
So I've said it before and I'll say it again. All grass seed is not created equal. Some people wonder why it's better to do your own lawn or have True Green do your lawn. Here's some stuff I borrowed from one of my neighbors who has True Green. So you can see how light and fluffy, you know, this will just fly everywhere. This is non-coated grass seed either. You can tell how just brittle it is, how much just sticks to your fingers. Versus the difference in when we look at the Scott stuff. It's thicker, you know, it doesn't really stick to your hands as much, and it's blue. You can see that blue coating on it, and that's because of, see, there's the actual grass seed right there. What they do is they cover it with some kind of coating technology, and you know, this absorbs the moisture better. It keeps, you know, maintains better water. So because of this coating, it maintains the water and the moisture better than other seeds because of that coating. So very important to have that. Don't cheap out and buy the cheap seed. All right, make sure you get something with this nice coating, whether it be Scotch or some other brand. I'm sure they're not the only ones that have it. So make sure you pick that up. I'm only going to use this in a couple bare spots I got in the backyard, so not going to be a big deal. Stuff I really don't care about.
All right, now that we're done with all of our other steps, you can see we still got some stuff left over from fertilizer or grass seed left over on our pavement. Now we want to make sure we blow it all off. All right. So some of the reasons you want to blow after. So some of the reasons why you want to blow your driveway off afterwards and your sidewalk is because of staining. So depending on the type of fertilizer that you use, it's always better to be safe and just blow it all off. Second reason why you want to blow it all off is because of the fact that there's going to be, even if you use the edge guard, there's still going to be a decent amount of leftover fertilizer or grass seed or whatever it is left over on the driveway or sidewalk. And obviously that stuff is not cheap, so you know, it's always better to blow it off and blow it back on the grass. And when you blow it, it does a good spread of it anyway, so you don't have to worry about too much going in one spot or too much going in the other. So I'm not sure if you could tell by the noise from the wind. So it's a little windy. I'm not sure if you could tell. It's a very, very slight wind today, but sometimes when you're blowing, so keep in mind, if you are doing this and it is a little windy, you know, you can tell when you're making your rounds back and forth with the spreader that going one direction is not as good as going in the other direction because of the wind coming at you. So if you're gonna do this kind of process or any type of spreading with seed or fertilizer or whatever you're using, I'd recommend going with the wind instead of against the wind. Otherwise, you're going to have too much put down at once. And like I said, you know, with Milorganite, it's not a big deal. It's non-burning, but other types of fertilizer, you want to go with the wind. So it's better a little bit too less than a little bit too much with normal types of fertilizer. All right. Grass seed, again, you don't have to worry about because I don't think you can really put down too much grass seed. You know, if you want to heavy hand it, go right ahead. Just make sure it's grass seed and it's not fertilizer. Some of my neighbors have made that mistake in the past where they're throwing down patches and you see a whole bunch of patches and they're all brown spots on the front lawn or back lawn, wherever it is. So when you're using your hand, they think they're just throwing down, you know, little bits of grass seed here and there, but they're actually throwing down fertilizer and they make that mistake. So be honest, I'm sure some of you have done the same thing. All right, so be careful.
So one thing I like to do at the end of my spreader session is to clean it out. Now, you don't have to use, you know, a whole bunch of soap and cleaner and detergent or all that. You know, I just rinse it out with water. That does a good enough job. You just want to make sure you get any any leftover residue of whatever the last stuff you used in there. Maybe using some kind of, you know, fertilizer to fertilizer or to grass seed is not going to be a big difference. So you may not need to clean it out between that. You know, it's a good habit to get into. You know, the times you do want to is maybe you just put down some type of, I don't know, call it a fungus control or insecticide or something, so you don't want that to come out with the same rate as the let's say, fertilizer.
I haven't done a walkthrough in a while, so while we're talking here, I'll show you about this little grass that I like, my little wild grass. I love my grass. I got wild grass here. I got, nice striped grass here. This is a new bush that we put in. These are hydrangeas. There's not really too fond of it, to be honest, yet. It's got different colors, and see what happens. It kind of just dies out. You could tell by this one right here. It's just kind of dying out. I mean, that's how it is. You have this nice, beautiful colors, and then it just dies out, and eventually it'll, and so that's what it does. Just lays down. It doesn't grow up. It grows like down. And this, more wild grass. I love it. This one's a little bit different. It's got little, what you call them, little fluffy things on the end. This guy is pretty much done for the year. These are all hydrangeas. This one, these ones are nice. Got that nice pinkish look. And this lilac, of course, is done for the year, which we're debating on getting rid of. Obviously I should be trimming it back, because I hate when I'm mowing under here. That's where, this begins to start rubbing on me, and I don't like that. I should also be trimming this. I'll be trimming this before winter comes. I'll be trimming this back, allow more sunlight for the grass here. And also, you can tell when I'm walking under this is already hitting me, so not a good thing to do. So help out the lawn and help out your own walkthrough while you're mowing the lawn to not get hit. So do yourself a favor and your lawn a favor by cutting this. All right, chop these up. I do this once a year. These tree branches that are all growing down, these are eventually going to be cut by me anyways, whether it be this year or next year. We want the branches all to be growing up and the leaves to be growing up. That's when it looks the best. What's hanging down like this, I mean, sure, it doesn't look bad or anything. It's probably 4.5, 5 feet maybe at the lowest, but that's because I cut it at the end of last year. But it's also creating a lot more shade. So, even though my grass isn't having a problem with it, but the more sun, the better off the grass will be, all else equal, assuming you have proper watering and everything else. All right, so one of the things I'll be doing soon is chopping down all these bottom layers.
All right, now for the last step and the most important step is to water. Now, as you can tell, I didn't do any special striping or anything today. And if I did, it's from the bad angle, so you wouldn't see it anyways. But the reason I didn't stripe is because of the water. So, like I said in prior videos, when you do striping, it stays good for a while, but as soon as it rains, it deteriorates the look of it, because, it pushes the blades of grass back to the original position or different positions which you didn't intend for in the beginning. And don't forget, while you're watering, to sit back and enjoy it. Relax on your chair. That's some nice Mike's Hard Lemonade. Here I got a nice strawberry lemonade going. The question is, do I like it because it's good and lemonade, or because of the brand, Mike's? To be honest, it's a little of both. A little of column A, a little of column B. Definitely make sure you enjoy this. Listen to the smooth sounds of the watering. Gotta love the impact sprinkler. Job well done, everybody. Any questions? Shoot me something in the comments. I'll be sure to get back to you guys as soon as I can. Alright. And like I said, make sure you water especially after seeding. You want to water for, I would say, a good 3 weeks. Alright? Do not forget this step. He's getting a nice little mist over here. Gotta love the mist. Makes me feel like I'm in Florida, Disneyland, where they have those misters everywhere. One of my favorite things in the world is those misters. I'm thinking I'll grab my daughter and take her under the sprinkler in a few minutes. Everybody loves running through the sprinkler, right? Just like when we're all little. All right, catch you all in the next video.